now. You hear a London calling.
Welcome back to Salgueiros. We are in season 18. It's Christmas time, but I'm not feeling the festive cheer. That's right, our talisman has been ruled out for 2 to 4 months. That is brutal. With the new 4-3-3, things have been going well in the league. We're sitting top 5 points clear at the minute, despite that huge transfer turnover. So I am expecting a blip at some point, and January transfer window is on the way. But overall, results really good. Champions League's been a bit hit and miss. We seem to be losing our away games, but winning at home. With a couple of games left, we're sat in 12th, so it's going to be a struggle to get into that top 8. I said we should keep an eye on Marcos Paulo, and he has been electric. 7 goals, 9 assists. His attributes are going crazy. He's only 20. He looks like being our next superstar player. So far, so good in season 18 with this 4-3-3. We're not blowing teams away, conceding a few, but it's a completely new squad. So happy so far. Just finished the January transfer window. Some of you might recall this clip.
If it doesn't work, I know what the implications are.
Yes, that was a clip of Kevin Keegan and the infamous sale of Andy Cole in January to Manchester United many years ago. You might notice our transfers out now reads at 295. João Pedro has signed for Manchester City. That's right, João Pedro leaves us for 80 million, rising to 100 million. I had to cash in. He had 1 year left of his contract, but it hurts. Oh, it hurts. He leaves us as the record goal scorer in Salgueiros history. Now, like we always do, we have someone lined up to replace him. Welcome to the club, Evandro Necessian. Now, he's another striker from Flamengo. He's a little bit older at 26. He cost me 18 million. I got him straight away. He made his debut against Benfica, and after 5 minutes, he did that. After 27 minutes, the boys are absolutely flying now. He scores again, and on 82 minutes, a dream debut was complete as he bags his hat-trick. A stunning victory, probably the best victory we've had in the league since we started at Salgueiros. And what a start he's had since he joined us. That's 10 appearances, 10 goals. And after making the decision to sell João Pedro, boy, did I need that to happen, and he started superbly. So this is the state of play at the minute. We're in the final of the Alliance Cup. We haven't won that for a few years. We're up against Sporting. In the TATO de Portugal, we've got Porto coming up. In the Champions League, we've been drawn against Dortmund, which is going to be a toughie. Now, the league, you'll notice we have dropped. We have dropped big time. We're down to 4th. A combination of, I think, all the games we're playing and the sheer volume of players coming in, going out. The familiarity is not really there. They're just not clicking. So we are still persistent with the 4-3-3. Now we've got some players to show you that have came back from loans and some new players we brought in January. This is Fabio da Silva, an 18-year-old left wing back. We paid hardly anything for him. 6 million in from Brazilian football. Keep an eye. Jakob Johansson in from Copenhagen. Already valued between 42 and 55 million. We spent 11 million on him. Can play in behind the striker, as a striker or central midfield, and he's only 20 years old. New centre-back from Brazilian football is Daniel Nunes. He cost me £9 million. Potential. Now returning to the club is Nahol Morales. We bought him last season, if you look here, for £2 million and loaned him straight back to his club, but he's got super potential for us. He's going to be a big player in the second half of the season. So that wasn't ideal, but back to the Champions League, away to Dortmund in this tricky tie. This is the elimination playoff before the last 16. Necessian puts us in front. Only 34 minutes gone. Watch this finish. Beautiful turn, bang. We've got a player here. After 55 minutes, we unbelievably went 3-0 up away at Dortmund. They came back at us a little bit, but a 4-2 win away from home. Great first leg. It was time for the second leg now. Shocking back pass. Dortmund flying out the gates. Shortly after, it was 2 all level. But the boys came back at them. And despite the close scoreline, this was a great performance. Look at that goal. We eliminate Dortmund 7-4 on aggregate, and the overall performance in that game was great. Unfortunately for us, in the last 16, we drew Liverpool, who are just ridiculous on this game. In the league, we're still way behind Sporting, but we do have a game in hand. The first leg against Liverpool, we couldn't break them down. We really needed to get something out of this first leg. We go to Anfield at 0-0. Bit of a transition season, this one. With that many players gone out and coming in, I think I make it now. £650 million worth of players have gone out in the last season and a half, which is ridiculous. But we're on a decent run in the league. We haven't lost since the 2nd of February. But look at all the games in the different competitions. That's what's killing us. I'm about to play the second leg against Liverpool. I'm not sure what to do. It's 0-0. We're going to need a score, aren't we? Because they're bound to score against us. We've got a second version of this 4-3-3. It turns into more of a 4-5-1. Mentality drops down a little bit. Just little tweaks here and there. I think we'll start with this. And then if we need to transition to the normal 4-3-3, we might go with that. I've also got a league formation now to attack the league, which I'll show you after this one. We might even break into that if we need to. Now, as expected, we are getting a bit of a battering here. Our keeper, Garcia, is having the game of his life. But after 35 minutes, they finally broke us down and took the lead. But stopped the clocks. Now, it didn't look like we had any chance. But on 90 minutes, Pexotto dives in. 1-1. Let's go. It's extra time. We're on the attack here, but let me show you the formation I'm using in this extra time period. And there it is. This is how much we've been up against it. I've gone to a back five, which I haven't used at all. I've got a mentality of defensive. I'm counter-attacking. I'm just hoofing it over the opposition defence. You could say it's backs to the walls kind of stuff, right? But where was I? Back to the match. 94 minutes gone. Here's Dokic down the right. The makeshift wing-back, Necessian, absolutely cracks the crossbar, comes back in, and Mellin gets us in front. It's 108 minutes gone now. Liverpool are desperate. I'm not saying that's a penalty. I am raging. Penalty given. That's 2-2. Right, before we start this penalty shootout, I'm very well aware of my awful record at penalty shootouts. I'm speeding this up. Now granted, we got battered, but still, to concede that late, and another penalty shootout. But following this, we made the decision we need to attack this league, because we need something from this season. So, we went back to the tried and trusted, the Salgueiros Season 17 attack. We're going to use that in the league from now on, and the 4-3-3 will be our European formation. But that is what we're taking on with the league, as we hunt down Sporting. And the signs were good in the Taça de Portugal semi-final first leg. Against local rivals Porto, wait for these match stats. That is what you call a one-sided match. Wow. The decision to go back to this tactic was proven to be the right one. You could say this tactic is our DNA, and it was starting to show. We'd rose up to second now, only 4 points behind Sporting with 7 matches to go. So yeah, that's our league tactic going forward. And that is Europe. Sporting started to feel the pressure, only 3 wins out of the last 8 matches. Meanwhile, we kept the pressure on, and Leo Zeno was back from his injury. This meant with 3 games to go, we are 1 point behind Sporting now, and Benfica have also shot up. Our old rivals Benfica, there's 2 points between the top 3 teams. Quickly stepping away from this action, you'll notice our facilities have moved up again. The academy coaching up to 17, the youth recruitment up to 17 as well. Which brings me to this. It's the end of an era for the Salgueiros Stadium. It was built in 2027 if you remember. But next season, we move into our new, even bigger stadium. And the last match that we play in this stadium will be against Porto. And it's huge. We warmed up for that Porto game with a 7-1 away win. It's definitely good to have Leo Zeno back, as he bags a hat-trick. Porto's mini revival last season looks like being short-lived as we do what we always do to Porto. We battered them in the huge match. With Sporting continuing to struggle, this meant with one game to go, we are top of the league. 1 point ahead of Benfica. Interestingly, Benfica's last match is Sporting. Now Benfica did in fact beat Sporting 2-1, which meant we had to win. Now that is a right result. With the amount of players that have came and gone, I am buzzing that we've won the league. Now, the 6th goal, you might notice, was a penalty. So I was absolutely sick of us losing penalty shootouts constantly. We missed about 5 penalties through the season as well. So I put keeper Garcia on it. Dig that out. So we get our title back. That's our 4th league title, our first for 2 years, but we're back in the winner's chair now. Once we flipped back to the Salgueiros DNA tactic, which is what I'm calling it now, and I'll put that tactic down in the description so you can have a go with it. We scored 91 times there, only conceding 28. Absolute fire. I switched to it later on and you can see the results. We absolutely plundered the goals in. 7-1, 3-0, 6-0, 4-0. Unbelievable. I've still got 1 game to go, by the way, and it's in the TATO Portugal final against Benfica. We're going to cover that in the next episode because below that is yet again the FIFA World Cup. We're back in that thing again. So the club overall, right? Facilities, superb now. We're getting a new stadium next season. Let me take you over to the finances, by the way. This is big. We're now 393 million in profit. And this is where it gets funky, above my head. So let's have a look at this. Transfer value, players bought in 344 million. We've brought in 1.33 billion, which means we are only approximately 11 million off breaking the target. That target, have a net transfer profit of £1 billion, is now very much on. Everything else, I think we're pretty much done. It is subjective whether we're bigger than Porto or not. Maybe the Champions League is the one thing that's going to stop us achieving that goal. So next time when we come back, we'll go for the Club World Cup, we'll go for the TATO Portugal, and it will be season 19. Now, we're at the back end of this video. If you're still watching, this is the big news. This is season 19 coming up. I'm going to cap this save at 20 seasons, which means we've got 2 more years left. 2 more years to achieve the Champions League, perhaps, and 2 more years to get that net transfer profit to £1 billion. I think the second one's very achievable. But we've got 2 years left, team. 2 years left.